They used to tell me.
Did you sleep last night?
That's so cheesy, bro.
What, dude?
That's so flipping cheesy.
Did I sleep?
It's a question, bro. It's a general question.
Why would you ask that?
Thought you answered it in the first place.
I know.
Okay, I slept, but it's like
Usually
probably
people,
like
if they are
3
interested
o'clock.
about something
dude.
big,
Yeah,
I'd
like,
like,
I'm asking,
yeah.
did you sleep last night?
No, okay, I slept, but like I think 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock was from 12. There was no sleep. Like this
Yeah.
gig is massive. Has always been one of those gigs, yet alone playing, but actually just attending the gig. The event is just massive.
Yeah.
And to imagine me playing there, that's like 10 years time, bro. But that Zulumke track that we released last year was like an opener. It opened access to so many venues, so many avenues. So yeah, what's the mood you're expecting? What's the mood you're expecting in Ultra, especially at Resistance stage?
I'm not expecting a lot of resistance.
Oh, obviously.
Cheesy!
Cheese toppings.
Mr. Cheese.
Damn, boy,
But
what a
anyway,
Vegas.
like I'm just saying, like we're gonna do lemon and herb. That's all we can do. That's the flavor we're gonna bring to the stage. You know, I think that's why we got called up to the stage to do what we do.
Yeah.
We might be even insecure from a lot of things. You know, like if you think about like the names that we're going to be playing with, the stage that we're playing with, the amount of people that are going to be playing there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit intimidating, and you ask yourself sometimes, you know, like, do I deserve to be on that stage?
Yeah.
But then, you know, doing as cool, I mean, I would say, why is Buzuuti, do I deserve it? Because why are we in this in the first place if we don't think we're going to play the bigger stages? And the first thing is that, like, we're giving this our all, you know, and I think the universe is listening and is giving its all back.
Yeah.
You know, and this is only the start, you know, and I'm privileged and honored but we've been hustling, we've been doing this thing for like how many years now? Almost close to 10 years, if you think about it.
It's been a ride.
You know, so
it's just the start.
funny thing is that we're listening to Big Sean right now, and there's a line that he says, you know, I guess it took 10 years for me to be an overnight success. You know, so a lot of people look at us and be like, oh, Lemon and Herb, Zulumke, and now they're playing at Ultra, but we've been around, bro. You know, Google that. It's facts.
Cheesy!
here we are, just two small town boys from Howick, KZN, with a passion for music and the arts. We've come a long way from being chased out of our high school assembly hall, because we were messing around with the school piano during break times and, after school. We were those kids, and, we've come a long way now. We're meeting some of our idols in music, sharing stages with some of the biggest names in the industry. Sometimes it feels surreal, but we've always felt in our heart that we deserve to be here. We've put our all in this music. It's something we're super passionate about. It's something we can't explain. Music is something we bury ourselves in. We do still have a long way to go. Still far from, the ultimate dream, but we've got to, at this point, recognize that this is a milestone and kind of pat ourselves on the back and say, job well done. It serves as a reminder and it serves as an inspiration. It's very, very, very important for us to be in these type of gigs and get these type of call-ups. And we're gonna leave our hearts on the stage. In every stage, no matter how big or how small, we're gonna give this our everything and kind of show the people what we're about, share the music with the people, and have some fun doing it. Lemon and Herb, remember that name. In short, we had a blast at Ultra. Me and Don have a good synergy in studio. We understand who does what, when. There's a good synchrony and synergy amongst the both of us. And I think it's apparent when you listen to our music, it took a long time and a lot of practice and a lot of, dedication and effort to get to this point. As you can understand and as you can imagine, having two people with two, different ideas all the time, try and work together, and we feel like we've mastered it at this stage. We really do. Our studio is basically our living room. We do what we have to do with what we have.